So welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since I've made a video. It's been a couple of weeks now, not as long as the month hiatus I think I had. But I've been meaning to make this video since the start of June because, you know, typically most people do like a sort of end of year review, but I decided I wanted to do a half year review of what I've listened to so far. So you know, I'll talk about what I've listened to so far, you know, highlights and lowlights for examples. Overall though, this year's been probably worse than typically. I don't know if I'm just being harsher than usual this year because I've listened to more music, so I guess I've become less surprised by the music that I listen to. But overall, there's still been some really good albums so far this year, so it could just be the picks that I've chosen. But overall, I think the standard is a bit lower. From what I've heard so far anyway. Some of these albums I think I need to listen to again, which we'll get to. But overall this year, I think we've listened to, you know, mainly has been dominated by Bob Dylan, to be honest. This year has just been Bob Dylan all over. I've listened to Blood in the Tracks many times this year now. Highway 61 as well, which I wouldn't consider to be my favourite Bob Dylan album, but it's, you know, it's been on quite a few times this year. There's also the Freewheeling, of course, which I've listened to. I think that was at the start of the year, basically, in around about January. I listened to that quite a few times, and I think that probably kick-started the whole Bob Dylan mood thing. But those are the three that have been on so much. Sinead O'Connor's been on quite a lot recently as well. The Lion and the Cobra I've had on quite a few times. Mandinka has been stuck in my head many times. That's one of them. Red House Painters, as usual, is always usually in and around my eardrums. Just always very depressing, but that's what I like, I can't help it. Neutral Milk Hotel as well, the in the Aeroplane Over the Sea. Throughout January, that was pretty much my soundtrack. And Pet Shop Boys as well, who anybody who knows me at all will know that Pet Shop Boys are obviously a staple of my childhood, one of the first bands I ever really sat and listened to. And there's obviously some others in there, but those are like the main five I think that have been on repeat this year. Also, just so I can put a time frame on this, Scotland top one because Scotland just played Switzerland, we drew one each. You know, it's the second game of the Euros. Just to give you an idea of when this is, or to give myself, future me, an idea of when this is. But getting into the, you know, the review, I suppose. If you can even call it that. So, the first album we have, the first album that I listened to this year actually was Genesis' self-titled album. Now, I've listened to two Genesis albums, this one and Invisible Touch, both, I believe, from the 80s. And I've still to listen to the 70s era, you know, from before Phil Collins became the singer. And I know that there's quite a few very highly regarded albums from that era, so hoping to hopefully maybe get to one of those later in the year. But I thought the self-titled one was pretty good. Don't think it was as good as Invisible Touch, but Mama is a fantastic song, and that's all. Again, the first two tracks are more than good enough to warrant a listen of that album, I think. Then the last album that I listened to, so I listened to this last week, Monday at the Hugging Pint by Arab Strap, which is their Scottish sort of slowcore indie rock band. I suppose that's how you would describe Arab Strap. And again, only listened to two albums, including this one. The first one that I listened to, I don't know how you say the name, so I'm just going to leave the name here somewhere. Very slow, very depressing, just it dragged on. And there are a couple of good songs on there as well, you know. There was a song on there called Soaps that I thought was really great. But I think this album, Monday at the Hugging Pint, really blew that out of the water. Overall, just a much higher standard of music. It wasn't very, very slow all the time. It was a bit up and down, a bit too much maybe. But to me, it showed to me that there is good music to be heard here. Another thing is that the singer's a bit drony. But other than that, I think in maybe, half hour to 45 minute stint, you can probably handle it. So best album that I think I've listened to this year so far, and it is a 2024 release as well, is Filthy Underneath by Nadine Shah. So long story short, my brother and I went to see Depeche Mode live at the end of January there, and we didn't know before the concert whether there was going to be an opening act. So, we just sort of stood there and waited. We're usually there very early, pretty much right after doors open. And, we're standing around, because it was the first standing section gig that I'd ever done. He'd done many, but I'm quite sure it wasn't very good for the visual aspect, at least. But, we're standing there, we see the opening act come out. We hear Greatest Dancer, I think, might have been the first song that she played. I wasn't familiar with their music at the time, so I don't know. But when she started playing, I think it was clear to all of us that she was pretty good. It was very much up our street. So, when we get through the Depeche Mode gig, etc., after the gig, we're like, yeah, that was really good. What do you think of the opening act? Yeah, very good, great. Wonder what her name was. She just, because she didn't say what her name was, she just came on the stage, sang her songs and bounced. So we were very confused, done a wee bit of research, as in we googled it, and then Nadine Shah, boom, started listening to her songs on Spotify. Really, really into it. The Filthy Underneath album wasn't really shit, and I listened to it as soon as it came out, and I thought, this is absolutely fantastic. And so far this year, I'm yet to find anything that's come close to it. So that's the best album. The worst album, A Brief Inquiry into Online Relationships. My issue with this, so this is an album by the 1975, and for most people they're an outlier in my music taste. It is an outlier in my music taste, because generally when it comes to modern pop music, I'm not really too fussed either way. It's either boring or it's just sort of surface level serviceable music. It's nothing. It's very rare that there's a song that comes on the radio and I'm like, hold on a minute, what's that? And if there is, it's usually like an old song from the 90s or the 80s or the 70s, who knows. This album to me though was like, I imagine it is what it sounds like to people who hate the 1975, like the rest of their music all sounds like this. It was just really, really annoying, obnoxious at points, and I'm unsure of how to really properly describe it to people who don't listen to them, because they'd probably say that the rest of their music is exactly the same, because I like their self-titled album, I like their second album as well, because that was a double album, so it was a bit on the longer side, but I did really enjoy it for the most part. Their latest album as well, I think it's called Talking Funny in a Foreign Language or something like that. That's really, really good actually. I think that was really good. But this one, which is sort of their middle album, they've had 5, this is the third, not good to me. And their last album that I haven't listened to is also a double album, and I'm kind of dreading it. So I don't know, maybe at the end of the year we'll find out what I think of it. So that's the worst. We'll go on to some of the more underwhelming albums now, and one of those is Murmur by R.E.M. And again, I've only listened to it once, to be fair, so definitely going to give it another listen by the end of the year, another few hopefully, depending on how I feel about it. But I don't know, it didn't really grip me, which I found a bit disappointing, because this is probably the most jangly that R.E.M. are. And, well, I'm a big fan of the Smiths, so I thought, if anywhere to start with R.E.M., this is probably the best place. Even though I don't think it's their most popular album, I think Automatic for the People is probably the most popular. I thought this would be the best place to start, for me personally, considering my taste. But again, it just there are a couple of good songs in there. I mean, there are quite a few good songs on there, but again, it didn't blow me away in any sense. So I think I'm probably going to need more time with it. And I'm really hoping that it really does prove me wrong, because well, it's more good music. And the second one I have for this is Full Moon Fever by Tom Petty. Again, at the start of the year, my brother introduced me to a couple of the songs in this album. We were just driving in the car though, so it's hard to focus on the music when you're driving and obviously chatting away. But from that chat and, you know, just sitting in the car with him, I thought, yeah, that's good, this is probably quite decent. But when I ended up listening to it on my own, I just thought it was fine, to be honest. Just fine, sort of summer rock music, I guess, is the best way I can describe it. Sort of pop rocky stuff. Again, like, don't think it's bad in any sense of the word. It's just good, I guess. It's not great, and I guess that's why it was underwhelming. I expected more from it, sadly. Some of the more surprising albums now, and again, this isn't a slight on the people that make these, but Sam's Town by The Killers, this was mainly surprising because I thought that Hot Fuss was just alright. Again, sort of similar to Murmur and Full Moon Fever. I listened to Hot Fuss last year for the first time, and I knew a few songs on it, but like I said with the other two, it didn't necessarily blow me away in any sense of the word. So when I listened to Sam's Town, I was a bit apprehensive, I guess you could say, because although I knew a few of the songs on it, like Read My Mind is probably my favourite Killers song, Bones is another fantastic one, When You Were Young, that's another very popular one that I really like. So, you know, that's 3 songs already that I really like. I think there's only 11 or 12 songs on it. So, you know, I think I was worried about the quality of the rest of the songs, because there are other albums that I've listened to this year where I've known quite a few of the songs, and the ones that I didn't know I just thought were meh. Looking at you, the script self-titled. But yeah, it really, again, I thought it was really good. And I think, what were the songs that I liked on it again? This River Is Wild. His singing reminded me of Robert Smith in that, towards the end of the album song, because I just felt like the way it was belting the lyrics, or belting the vocals, just felt very Robert Smith to me. And the other album was Willie and the Poor Boys by Creedence Clearwater Revival. Now, I think from seeing other people talk about CCR, like Canadian Stud Muffin, for example, who are big fans of this band, it really encouraged me to get around to this now, because I probably wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for all the people who were talking about it. And the main song that I really knew was Fortunate Son, because to me Fortunate Son got to be one of the best songs ever written. Yeah, the whole album was just fantastic. I was, you know, bobbing and weaving all the way through it. I think they had a song called I think it was called Feeling Blue, and I wasn't feeling blue personally. I was jumping all over the shop with that song. So if you've got a song called Feeling Blue and you've got me bouncing, I think you're doing something right. The entire album was great. Obviously Fortunate Son got to be a highlight, but it's just really, really good all the way through. It's got to be, at the moment I have it in second place behind Filthy Underneath. That's how good it is. And some other ones that I want to mention here as well. So again, like I said earlier, I listen to Sinead O'Connor quite a lot. I don't know why last week I just went, I think I saw a post about her on Instagram or something like that, and I was like, I need to listen to some Sinead O'Connor. So I did, and I Do Not Want What I Haven't Got was in my backlog, and I was like, yeah, stick it on now, because I'm in the mood for it. And this is the album that has Nothing Compares to You on it, so just to give you an idea. So 1990, and again, the thing that's really good about, I think, generally for Irish singers and bands, is their lyrics tend to be very emotionally charged, and that shows in the delivery as well. So I think that really helps with the songwriting. I think most good songs are usually quite personal or come from a very real place at least. So I really enjoyed I Do Not Want What I Haven't Got. Eulogy Volume 1 is so anybody who's a fan of How I Met Your Mother, they will know who Josh Radnor is. He's the main character in that sitcom. He plays Ted. And well, this is his album. He released it last year or the year before, I think, and I had no idea that he made music, and I only watched How I Met Your Mother last year for the first time fully through. So when I found out, well, I need to get to that straight away, and I think it's really good. I think it's really, really good. It's not like the best album ever written or anything like that, but you know, usually when you see an actor come to do something that they're not well known for doing, you're always a bit apprehensive of how good it could possibly be. But you know, I was staying with my brother at the time, and he has a song called New York City, and I shoved that on, and I absolutely fell in love with it straight away. I was like, I need to get to this entire album when I get home again. So yeah, I listened to the whole thing when I got home. I sat and wrote about it for a while, because I've been making a journal this year as well. So at the end of the year, I'll probably go back through my comments and see if I still agree with them. But if you're looking for somebody who's maybe not typically seen as a musician, or more popular, more well known for not being a musician, I should say, then give this a go. Next up is Big Sigh, which is probably one, I think it might have been the second or third album that I listened to this year, because it was Marika Hackman. She released it in January, so it will probably be her most well known now because it came out at that point in the year, mostly about her turning 30 this year, I think, or last year. That's what a lot of the songs are not necessarily focused on, but that I guess are depressing in that sense, where it's sort of looking back on your life so far. And when I first listened to it, I thought this is good, but it's not as good as her debut. But as time went on, particularly when I got to see her live in March, I got to see her perform a lot of the songs, and well, I went and bought a CD signed. That's how much I really fell in love with the songs when I heard them live. I was excuse me, I was sitting listening to the songs on the way there as well, just sort of getting myself right in the mood, and right in the mood I got. So again, another one that I think is probably top 5 this year so far, not for 2024 releases, but 2024 in general. And then finally we have Transformer by Lou Reed. I am mind blown that I had never heard Walk on the Wild Side before this year, because that's got to be whenever I talk to somebody now and it's like, you know, coming to make a decision, my phrase now is, hey babe, take a walk on the wild side. So it's had a big influence on me that way, and it's just always stuck in my head now. Out of all the songs that I've listened to this year, that song has been stuck in my head the most. You know, Satellite of Love is obviously brilliant, and Perfect Day is fantastic as well, but Walk on the Wild Side is probably my favourite Lou Reed song at this point. So yeah, I wanted to mention Transformer for that as well, and the other songs are great as well, but Walk on the Wild Side, man, such a special song. And also I realised that that's what Bono was singing at Live Aid. I'm disappointed in myself for that one, to be honest. So what I'm hoping to get through at least by the end of the year is one of Church's albums that I haven't heard. I've listened to their first and their last one, so one of the ones in between. Eminem's new album, which I think is called The Death of Slim Shady. Coldplay's new album, which is Moon Music. I'm not expecting much from that, really. I don't know if any of the singles have come out yet. I think a single comes out on Friday. It's Wednesday now, so 2 days. I can't say I'm excited for that. A lot of their newer songs just don't vibe with me at all. Higher Power came out a couple years ago for is it Music for the Spheres? I hated it, absolutely hated that. So yeah, basically trying to hurt myself. The Smiles new album, yeah, that came out back in January or February, I think now, and I've still not listened to it, so I want to get that around to that at some point. I want to listen to Siamese Dream by the Smashing Pumpkins. Whenever I listen to some of the Smashing Pumpkins music, I'm really enjoying it. So I don't know why I haven't listened to an album yet. So I think it's time to change that this year. And who knows, maybe we'll maybe they'll become one of my favourite bands after that. The thing that puts me off them is the singer, mostly. Then there's the Sundays, again, more sort of jangly pop. Haven't listened to any songs from their second album called Blind yet, so I'm unsure if it's going to be as close to their first album as I'm imagining that it would be, because they were only around for like 5 years. So I'm hoping that it's very similar, because I like their first album a lot. And then finally, of course, ending off the video, the way we started, would be Blonde on Blonde by Bob Dylan, because Bob Dylan's just been my life for the past 6 months, to be honest. In every situation, he just seems to have a song that's right for the moment. And Blonde on Blonde is probably one of his most highly... It could be top 2 or top 3 most highly regarded albums for him. Thing that puts me off it is it's a double album, I think. Wait, it might not be, actually. I know it's over an hour at least, so, depending on how good the album is, will basically depend on how good I think it is, I suppose. If I'm enjoying it, it'll go in fast. If I'm not enjoying it, that hour will feel like 10. So, I might listen to Nashville Skyline first, because that's only like a half hour. But, I don't know. I'll get through a few of them anyway. But, yeah, that's basically everything I wanted to talk about. So, yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed the video. If there's anything you think I should maybe listen to before the end of the year, give me a shout, and you'll probably get a mention in that end of your video. And I don't have much else to say other than Moan me Scotland. So I'll see you on the next video. Cheers.